Hello, everyone. This is Ben Dunn, founder of Antarctic Press, a comic book publishing company established in 1985. Creator of such comics as Warrior Nun, Mighty Tiny, Ninja High School, Marvel Mangaverse, Tomorrow Girl, and a host of others. I also have two campaigns going. One on Kickstarter, the Mighty Tiny graphic novel, which is a sort of a anthropomorphic steampunk adventure for all ages, and exclusively on Indiegogo is Tomorrow Girl Volume 3, a all ages dedication to Silver Age hero of comics. So today is Mother's Day. I hope you all spend time with your mother, or in remembrance of your mother, whatever it is. I hope you have a great Mother's Day, whatever. Also, tragically, I heard today that one of my idols, Roger Corman, has passed away. He was 98 years old. Quite a good run. For those of you who are not familiar with Roger Corman, I consider him one of the greatest, if not the greatest, indie filmmakers of all time. I can't think anywhere on the top of my head who might be, better or has such a prolific career as Roger Corman. I admired his work. I watched a lot of his movies. He was one of the reasons why I had actually considered going to film school. He just seemed like the kind of guy that made the kind of movies I would make. So according to his Wikipedia, I'm not sure how accurate that is, but he was born April 5th, 1926. Wow, can you imagine 1926? Things were so different back then. And he just recently passed away. He's been euphemistically known as the Pope of pop cinema. Also, the spiritual godfather of the new Hollywood and the king of cult. Now, in a lot of ways, Roger Corman sort of embodies the spirit of independent comics. He made movies on his own terms. This is something that we as creators need to take example from. He was able to finance, create, do movies. He once, I think, touted or bragged that he never made a movie that lost money. You have to admire something like that. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I believe it. I would have no doubt that he, in every way, made movies. And he gave a lot of creators their first break. According to this, in 1964, Corman became the youngest filmmaker to have a retrospective at cinema. This is some French word. Cinémathèque Francaise. It's French. As well as the British Film Institute and the Museum of Modern Art. He was the co-founder of New World Pictures. Oh, yes, I'm quite familiar with New World Pictures. They're responsible for Lord of the Rings, for God's sakes. He was also the founder of New Concord and was a longtime member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. So he got to vote for the Academy Awards. He was, in 2009, awarded an Academy Honorary Award. Sure, he contributed quite a bit to the film industry. Corman is also famous for handling U.S. distribution of many films by noted foreign directors, including Federico Fellini. Oh, yeah, I've seen some of his movies. They're bizarre. Ingmar Bergman. I may have seen some of his films, but I'm not sure. I think he did The Seventh Seal or something like that. Francois Truffaut. Akira Kurosawa. Now, that's a name I'm familiar with. He's a very well-known. He did Seven Samurai. He mentored and gave start to many young film directors, such as, and here's a very impressive list, Francis Ford Coppola, Ron Howard, Martin Scorsese, Jonathan Demme, Peter Bogdanovich, Joe Dante, Joe Sayles, and James Cameron. He was very influential in the new Hollywood filmmaking of the 1960s and 70s. That was the time when the old Hollywood system finally broke down. Are we seeing something like that in comics? I wonder. Seems like the old standard of comics are breaking down, and we're seeing a new rise of independence. How about that? Are we following the same footsteps? I would like to think so. Corman occasionally acted in films by directors who started with him, including The Godfather Part 2. God, was he in that movie? I don't remember seeing him. Wow, he may have played a big part. I'll have to check. Silence of the Lambs. Really? Wow. Philadelphia, Apollo 13, The Manchurian. These are all films I've heard before. I've never seen him in there. Maybe I wasn't looking. He was a subject of some documentaries. In Corman's World, Exploits of a Hollywood Rebel, directed by Alex Stapleton. You should check that out. I think it's on YouTube. So check it out. I'm sure I'll have to check that out myself. It's a very good documentary. I remember back in the 1980s, seeing a lot of his films. The one that stuck with me was Battle Beyond the Stars. I didn't even realize, that was a Roger Corman film, until much later in my life. I remember watching Battle Beyond the Stars, Planet of Terror, and there was a lot of movies I watched on TV that I never realized that were Roger Corman films, like Death Race 2000, and other films, And he was making films since the 1950s. Some of the most classic cult horror movie films of that era from the 1950s and the 1960s were from Roger Corman. I also remember he gave a lot of actors their first big break too, such as Jack Nicholson, and things like that. This is the reason why independence in creative arts are so important. It allows for new creators to come up, and try their hand at it. Oh, and this is something I never knew before. Roger Corman had a line of comics. According to him, according to this, he created Roger Corman's Cosmic Comics from short-lived from 1995 to 1996. I'll have to check that out. I don't remember seeing any of those comics. They're probably on eBay right now that are dirt cheap. I'll have to check that out. Buy them up before they become popular. So this is a perfect example of someone who went against the system and made it a success. I admire this man. He is the epitome of what it means to be an indie creator, and should set an example for all of us out there who are trying, to break into the creative arts, and try to make it a success. So rest in peace, Roger Corman. You will be remembered, at least in this mind, and you were a great inspiration to me. And I hope that wherever you are, you will live in eternity. So, sorry, sort of a bittersweet day today. And until next time, this is Ben Dunn, signing off.
She's got blonde hair and a hero cape on. She's the kind of girl who fights till dawn. She's a superhero, she'll save the day. talk of the town. Whenever there's trouble, she's always around. With her super strength and lightning speed, she fights for justice, fulfilling a need.